Hi, welcome. Thank you for joining me. You are getting a slightly different angle in my living room today because I am waiting for a massage therapist to come. I did mention that I had injured myself over Thanksgiving, and it was enough that this is my first day downstairs in my own house since Thanksgiving. Fortunately, I'm self employed. So, yeah, booking me is a great idea right now because I ain't going anywhere. But hi, I am Diana Rachel. I am the voice behind The Spirited Witch, Practical Living for Spooky People. Part of making this more of a community service is doing these weekly tarot draws to give people some guidance, some sense of community through the week. These draws are for the community. A lot of the times the cards do like to talk about politics. While I am very political, I don't like talking about it. It's just a weird thing with me. And so sometimes I kind of get dragged there. Especially since lately the tarot really likes to be talking smack about the patriarchy lately, which can't blame it, but it did come from a patriarchal system, so I'm kind of impressed it's speaking up on its own. So I do pregame, so you don't have to sit there watching me shuffle cards and occasionally drop them and get sidetracked or spill my coffee. But so I can get right to it. I know more people have been joining me, so I've been chatting a little bit more, and this is an okay time to type in questions, have conversations. While I won't do one-on-one readings over a live, I can answer clarifying questions or even answer general questions about witchcraft or folk magic practices if you like. My expertise is in curse breaking and troubleshooting. Part of this is because of things I experienced when I was much younger, where there was a very specific frame of these things don't happen. Well, things were most definitely happening to me. So I tend to come at questions about cursing and negative energy, not from a this doesn't happen or this absolutely does happen, but from a okay, something is happening. I believe that something is happening. Let's see what's going on. And the tarot is a big tool for me in that. So, what I have got for today, for this week, and I have to admit that there has not been a single reading that has not surprised me since I started doing these. So, I got the Star. Now, what I am hearing, because I will, when I pick up these cards and show the community, I will get the peanut gallery. And the peanut gallery of spirit is saying, don't stare at the light so hard that it makes you blind. There are a lot of people who do the I'm in the light only or I am the darkness. And both have their healthy and unhealthy sides. The unhealthy side about the all positivity is it requires a type of blindness. Too much light makes you blind. You look away from things that generally need to be dealt with or may be uncomfortable but are present for a healthy reason. Just as darkness, you can't see what's going on, you're stumbling around, you're having to trust, and blindness and blind trust and blind faith are not usually operable conditions, if that makes sense. So this does look like there is going to be some hope this week, which I am not exactly an optimist. I am a pragmatist that expects to have to work from the bottom up in every situation. So something unexpectedly hopeful is going to come up and after this weekend and the news cycle and the yikes of everything. I think that we all need this, and it may be something where it may be the hopefulness will be seen, but it may be hard to feel. So, for example, I have a thing with Christmas lights now that I didn't used to. Is in 2019 I was going through a divorce and a breakup and several other just unhappy things were happening in my life. And it got so oppressive that I realized as I was like driving around San Francisco, one of the things that always gave me a giggle was how enthusiastic people were about putting up Christmas decorations. I guess when you don't have snow and ice in the way, you're free to go over the top, and people really did. And it would just make me smile. Plus pretty lights, dark at night. We did have shorter nights there, even close to the equator. And I realized as I was going through my day that I had no response whatsoever to those lights. And now, several years later, I'm having a slightly elevated response when I see Christmas lights, but it's not what it used to be. And my partner apparently has almost the same thing. They were going through similar things at the same time. We didn't know each other yet then. And I am looking at this with this hope and with what everyone has been enduring globally. And even if you can't quite feel it fully, try to take some pleasure in knowing it's there. Try to enjoy other people's enjoyment. Try to be happy for them, even if you can't be happy with them, if that makes sense. Because this is kind of the headspace that's going to be needed as we're moving forward through the end of this year. So that's what I've got for today. If anyone has any questions or comments, this is a great time to ask. Or if you have further insights, I will be hopping over to my Patreon for the 3-card reading at 9:45. And usually we start with what we did on Substack, and then we expound with 3 more cards. And usually it does give a little bit more of a story. Patreon membership, there is a free level. The 3-card draw is open to the free members, so don't be afraid to join if you're curious. And I am available for bookings this week, so just you can find the link in the Spirited Witch page. And that's what I've got for you. So thank you so much for spending the time with me. I am so happy that so many people showed up. And one of the things that I do with these readings is I don't just post the video. I also post the notes, keywords, and a short synopsis for people that are doing tarot studies so they can integrate it into their practice in a way that makes sense for them. Because tarot is very much a living practice. It is not just rote memorization. It is integrating multiple contexts and learning how other people's contexts can impact the cards. So I try to make it a little bit more of a learning tool that way for everyone. Yes. Thank you. This goes along well with the Patreon reading I had for this month. Hi. So Sarenth is a rune reader and a friend of mine, and you're doing monthly rune readings, correct? So if there's anything you'd like to share here, please feel free to do so. I quite welcome the cross-pollination. Yep, he's just saying, yep. It's sort of like my little crystal ball this morning. Ha, no. I don't know if you were on for that part. So, and he's also has a Patreon that is well worth checking out, and I cannot quite remember the title of it. So if you want to leave the title, please do. Yes, the runes I got for this month is Berkana. So birch and the wisdom it brings is a big theme for the month. And birch is kind of a big deal in Finnish culture, which is my spouse's culture as well. I have a slightly embarrassing confession to make, is I used to be scared of the Berkana rune because as a 20-something, I was so terrified of getting pregnant that I would basically hide from any fertility symbol that existed, which made being eclectic Wiccan really awkward sometimes. I am glad I have a deeper understanding now as an older adult. Rather than femininity, pregnancy, etc. Yeah. So wisdom. And I think maybe spending some time reading about birch trees might be good today. Yeah. And yes, fair. Well, someday I won't have to worry about that. So again, closing out, it is the start. There is some hopefulness. Just on the one side, don't get blinded by the light. On the other side, even if you can't quite rise to meet the light, cheer on the people that are able to do so. So this is one of those weeks where it's less practical advice and more emotional advice. And as I have learned, as I have been doing my healing, the emotional advice goes a long way towards the practical in the long run. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. Have a beautiful morning, and don't let the bastards get you down. And so we are going to close. If anyone has a question they want to ask, it will probably be sarcastic in response. Otherwise, I'm going to ask what I always ask, which is just why. So, hi, Hazel. Thank you so much for joining us. It looks like we are just about wrapping up, but I am daring people to ask the goofy little ball a question. The tarot card for the day, for the week, is the Star. So there is some unexpected optimism coming the general community's way. So while it is not a time for rose-colored glasses, and some folks may not be able to quite meet that joy, celebrating the joy in others is going to be beneficial for everyone. All right, and so we are going to close the reading, and I am going to ask this thing, why? What? So technically, yes, but you'll hate it. Okay, then. Seriously, you find the most random things at TJ Maxx. All right. Stay magical, everyone, and thank you so much for spending the time with me.